Um, Hello, YouTube. Um, this is a test, so it's gonna suck. But this is episode one of WALS. Let's read. Um, Today we're gonna be skipping all these phonology ones because they don't apply to sign languages or written languages or shit like that. It's a bit less true to the core of what language is than morphology is. We'll probably read them eventually, but and I know that different types of languages use different morphologies and use different patterns more and less commonly, but this is at least the same types of things. Like we're going to be learning the same types of things that sign languages use. This is like in an entirely different ballpark. Um, yeah, let's start. Chapter Fusion of Selected Inflectional Morphemes by Balthazar Bickel and Johanna Nichols. Since its beginning in the 19th century, morphological typology has postulated a universal scale of less versus more tightly packed word forms. The scale ranges from isolating to agglutinative to fusional to interflexive and is canonically exemplified by Chinese as isolating, Turkish as agglutinative, Latin as fusional, and modern Standard Arabic as interflexive. Recent research has shown that such a scale conflates many different typological variables and incorrectly assumes that these parameters covary universally. See Planck, among others. This is Bickel and Nichols 2005. This is the same people who wrote it. They're citing their own research. That's funny. Three prominent, three prominent variables involved in this are phonological fusion, formative ex. So they're focusing on phonological fusion. What is formative exponents, though? I want to know what these words are. Um, so three prominent variables involved in this are phonological fusion, formative exponents, and flexivity, i.e. allomorphy inflectional classes. So phonological fusion is what they're describing now, where basically phonologically things merge, like tenses merge, rather than being different words. They're like modifications of the same word. I mean, I'm assuming that's what phonological fusion means. Formative exponents. What is exponents? Or I suppose just Google formative exponents first, right? Um, wow, someone had the same question as me. Um, okay, so let's just go at exponents. Um, Exponents is described as the correlation between an abstract linguistic category and its exponent. That's not helpful. What's an exponent, bro? um, let's see if this will help. The property of being dictionary is usually helpful. The act of expounding, property of being an exponent. Um, English, no. Linguistics, a manifestation of a morphosyntactic property. However, there have been no examples presented of gender systems where the plain n considers one exponent, different exponent. Exponent. So it's like a category, essentially. Like, if there's like two grammatical genders, then there's two exponents. Let's read this. This article's pretty short. It should help us. I don't have any money. I don't even have a job yet. Get out of here. Get out of here. An exponent is a phonological manifestation of a morphosyntactic property. In non-technical language, it is, thank you, it is the expression of one or more grammatical properties by sound. There are several kinds of exponents. So an identity exponent and a fixate. Oh yeah. These are ways to like express an exponent. So like identity, just keep the word as is, add something to the word, duplicate the word, modify the inside of the word, or remove something from the word. Dear, affixation, duplication. I just explained all these. So it's the phonological manifestation of. Okay. If X marks Y. So phonological fusion, formative exponents. I still don't really know what that means. I guess we should just move on. And flexivity. So let's Google flexivity, and we should. I know it in inflectional classes, I guess, but I don't really know what an allomorphy is. Flexivity linguistics. Okay. Oh, this is just a whole article about typology. Flexivity. Oh wow! It's citing WALS. This is a good explanation. This is exactly what I wanted. The World Atlas language structures sees categorizations of languages as strictly analytic, strictly misleading, arguing that these categories conflate multiple variables. While this variables as phonological fusion, how intrinsically connected grammatical markers are phonologically to their host word. Formative exponents, the number of categories expressed on. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. The number of categories expressed in a single marker. A tense number gender for verbs in some languages, like a female, like two females in the past would be a completely unrelated marker to two females in the present. Like it would just be an entirely different thing. Flexivity, allomorphy, and inflectional classes such as possessive classification. I still don't really get this. Allomorphy. Some morphemes have a consistent meaning but appear in different forms depending on the environment. The definite article shows up. Oh, okay. An allomorph is when something changes pronunciation depending on the context. So like I have a book, but I have an apple. So those are two allomorphs of the same word. So I guess the flexivity of the allomorphs, like and the flexivity kind of factors into how where they are on the scale. Like it's a component of it. But in this chapter, they concentrate on fusion, which is the first one. For exponents, see chapter 21, and for one aspect of flexivity, see chapter 59. Whoa, that's all the way over here. Let's define some fusion types. Fusion refers to the degree to which grammatical markers, called formatives, in the following. Fusion refers to the degree in which grammatical markers, or formatives, are phonologically connected to a host word or stem. There are three basic values: isolating, concatenative, and nonlinear. Isolating formatives are full-fledged phonological words of their own. In Fijian, can I view language details and see how to pronounce that? Fijian. It's probably just it's from Fiji, so it's probably Fijian. In Fijian, all formatives with more than one mora are isolating. An example is the past tense formative a. So we can see this past tense is completely separate from the verb give. But this transitive thing is part of the word give. So this part is isolating and this part isn't isolating. Concatenative formatives are phonologically bound. They need some other host word for their pronunciation and form they need some other host word for their pronunciation and oh, I thought this was a noun, but it's a verb. Isn't that stupid? They need some other host word for their pronunciation. And they need some other host word for their pronunciation and form one single phonological word together with that host. The usual effects of this are that concatenative formatives cannot be individually stressed, and that the combination of formative and host undergoes various phonological adjustments. The past tense marker of Turkish, for example, undergoes vowel harmony and assimilates in consonant voicing to the host stem. Thus, the past tense formative T after a stem with unrounded front vowels and a voiceless final consonant, e.g., T, go past, T. Thus, the past tense formative is. Oh, I missed this is. Thus, the past tense formative is T after a stem with unrounded front vowels and a voiceless final consonant. T, I'm assuming, after a stem with unrounded back vowels and a voiceless final consonant. D, after a stem with unrounded front vowels and a voiced final consonant, and so on. Maybe I should bring water for this next one. My voice is getting strained. A subset of concatenative markers is constituted by cliticized words. The Spanish object marker a, for example, is syntactically a word, a preposition, but phonologically it is a clitic and thus concatenative. Once the phonological alternations are properly analyzed, strings of concatenative formatives can be segmented into clear-cut morphemes. Nonlinear formatives are not amenable. That's not a word I know. You're throwing fastballs at me, bro. I don't know this word. Amenable. Open and responsive to suggestion, easy to be persuaded or controlled, capable of being acted upon in a particular way, so susceptible to. Okay. I might have to pause. I'm hearing walking. Alright, ladies, I'm back, and I got some water. So amenable, usually receptive to change, so excuse me. Non-linear formatives are not amenable to this because they are realized not in linear sequence but by direct modification of their hosts. In our sample, we found two subtypes of nonlinear formatives, alblaut and tonal. Modern Hebrew illustrates the alblaut type. The past perfect versus future imperfect opposition, for example, is expressed by 1. The choice of a stem template, A, C, A, C, B, C, in the past, C, C, V, C. Okay. In the future, A is literally the vowel A, okay. And the choice of agreement affixes. Entirely suffixes in the past, mostly prefixes in the future. So here we have some nonlinear formatives for the past and some nonlinear formatives for the future. And you can see it's nonlinear because like everything, the word itself changed and the order stuff happens changes. Neither affix nor stem choice appears to be basic. Tense is not marked in this language by an extractable morpheme, but by the complete affix plus stem pattern as a whole. For purposes of this survey, we call this alblaut morphology. Supersegmental nonlinear formatives chiefly involve tonal modification. In Kisi, most tense aspect opposition are... Use opposition as a plural? I've never seen that before, that's cool. Most tense aspect opposition are expressed by tone and tone alone. So, the only difference between these two words is tone, and it expresses the tense aspect, perfective and habitual. Present habitual versus past perfective. Here, present habitual, okay, they say that. Present habitual is expressed by a low tone, and the last total, past perfective is expressed by a high tone. So now, it's time for the map. Sampling procedure and feature laws. Languages were surveyed for the case and TAM exemplars as defined in the chapter on sampling, case, and transformatives. And where is this chapter? Oh, this is a I didn't know there was a supplement. Where's the supplement? How do I find that? Is it at the end? Yeah, here's our supplement. And this is part of the supplement, I guess. Languages were surveyed for the case and tense aspect mood exemplars as defined in the chapter sampling, case, and transformatives. Nearly 90% of the languages on our sample have the same values for case and tense aspect mood, and therefore we combine the two values into one overall value. So here is the map. Fusion of selected inflectional morphemes. Let's look at this map. We can see that The majority of languages are exclusively concatenative. And then a bit more are exclusively isolating. Not a bit more, like this, the second most is either exclusively isolating or a combination of isolating and concatenative. So it seems like the huge majority is prefixes and suffixes. Like you don't want to be doing weird stuff like changing the word itself or changing the tone of the word. Or you also don't want to have a whole bunch of words. The general tendency of the world is prefixes and suffixes. Let's look around. See, Europe is following this concatenative fun. Sucks you can't really zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. You have to press those buttons. Here we can see in China we get some interesting stuff. All these languages are purely isolating, so it seems like around China there's some isolating fun happening. And the light blue, I'm assuming, is a mixture of isolating and concatenative. Yeah. Africa, or I guess this is the Middle East, we can see some Alblaut concatenative. So like that example that they had with Hebrew, like consonant stems and then you change the vowels and shit. Yeah. Got some funky stuff going on here. What is that purple? That is tonal. So Kenya, Tanzania, we've got some tonal fun. India, concatenative. Let's go here. Mostly concatenative. Let's go to the Americas. Pretty much all concatenative here in the Americas. Wow, it's all blue or white. There's literally no edge cases. I'm sure there are, that they're just not on the map, but it's all concatenative with a bit of isolating fun here. And then it's mostly concatenative with a bit more isolating fun here. So yeah, overall, let's look at the whole map again. You can see how much blue just dominates things. There's some pockets of white and light blue, but this is a world dominated by exclusively concatenative languages. Whoops, I didn't mean to close that. Mixed types mean that case and tense aspect mood differ from each other. Okay, so case is like on nouns and tense aspect mood is on verbs. And the type list exhausts which combinations are tested in our sample. In a few instances, however, mixed types refer to languages where there's conflicting evidence for the fusion type, in at least one of the formatives. Conflicting evidence is found, for example, in Lakota, where the future tense marker kata is part of the same phonological word as the verb stem with regard to morphophonological rules, but not apparently with regard to syllabification. See Russell, 1999, for careful discussion. Interesting. So maybe it's like in the process of becoming a suffix. Morphophonological rules. Okay. Other instances of conflicting evidence that we found include Beja, Thai, Chamorro, and Goniandi. The color scheme on the map is set up so as to highlight the presence of some isolating and the presence of some non-linear formatives. Okay. Let's discuss. Most of the languages in our sample, 75%, rely exclusively on concatenative morphology for case and TAM. Languages with some isolating or non-linear formatives are much rarer and have limited areal distribution. Languages with isolating formatives, or some traces. Sahel belt. What is that? Let's learn about geography. Okay, so this is the Sahel belt. So it's like right under what I would consider to be the Middle East part of Africa. It forms a transitional zone between the arid Sahara Desert to the north and the humid savannas to the south. So, let's bring up the map again. Can I do this? Yes, I can. So, languages with isolating formatives, or traces of isolating structure, are mostly confined to the Sahel belt of West Africa. So, we can see here we have a lot. I didn't even notice this, or at least I think I didn't. We have a lot of isolating fun here in the Sahel Belt. Also right here. And to Southeast Asia and the Pacific, which I did mention. I did mention Southeast Asia. I don't know if I... Yeah, here it is in the Pacific with Chamorro and Fihan and Rapa Nui. Yeah, that's interesting. Apart from this, there are outliers in Southern Africa, Australia, and the Americas. In our sample, alblout morphology is always mixed with concatenative morphology and appears as an African singularity limited to representatives of Afro-Asiatic and the Central Afro-Asiatic, which includes Hebrew, Egyptian, Arabic, and the Central Sudanic branch of Nilo-Saharan, Lugbara. Similarly, tonal morphology is also by and large restricted in our sample to African languages, Niger-Congo and Nilotic. An outlier with tonal formatives is Iao, which is a lace plain language. I think. I don't really know how to read when there's a semicolon here. I don't understand that. Acknowledgements, we don't need to read that shit, but thank you to all these people who supported this research. Yeah, that wraps it up for this video. So, what we learned is that most of the world is exclusively concatenative. That is the main way that grammar works in the world. So, isolating languages only really appear in this, what was it called again? That beautiful belt. The Sahel Belt. So there's isolating stuff in the Sahel Belt and in Southeast Asia and the Pacific. I believe that this ocean is Pacific. I don't know ocean names. We have some funky stuff in like North Africa with tone and alblouts and stuff, but overall, the main takeaway is most language expresses case and TAM information through concatenation. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I love all of you. If you watch this, I love you so much, and I hope you have a nice day, and I hope you can smile. See ya.